Take a look at this. This is how fast the Arka myAQUA 3800 produces RO water. Now let me show you something. This is what most hobbyists are still using today. And right here is exactly why most reef tanks struggle without people even realizing it. And by the end of the video, you're going to rethink on how you make your RO water.
You have to love reefing.
We will be doing a boxing of some sort, but not opening the box really, because that just takes up too much time. Let's just take all the components, lay them out, and let's go over them one by one. So here we have the main housing for the Arka 3800. And there's a few things I want to show you on the front panel. First off, there's a flush button. There's a reset button. We'll come back to those later. And then there's PP, C1, C2, and RO. So the PP is for the micron filtration, which, by the way, the micron filtration on this system is 1 micron. Unlike most other RO systems that rely on 5 micron or 10 micron, this is down to 1 micron. The second chamber is for C1, which is the carbon. So the carbon goes into that housing. C2 is for the second carbon, and RO is for the membrane. So basically, there are 2 carbons. But the way this unit works is that it goes through the micron filtration, the carbon filtration, through the membrane, and then again through the carbon filtration number 2. That's where you get the good water. Now, the flush is designed, you flush the system in order to clean out the membrane. So the membrane will get some stuff on it, and with the flush system, you're able to remove the stuff that's on that membrane, and it all goes down through the wastewater. That'll take anywhere from 15 to 20, maybe even 30 seconds. The reset, when you change the canisters out, let's say you change the micron, you hit reset to get the system back up and running again. Also, bear in mind that there's LEDs under every one of these, and they will always stay lit in white. If they turn to red, that means that one of the canisters requires changing. And also use reset when you change out the membrane. Now, the membrane should last you at least a year. Now, as far as the micron filtration, depending on where you live, but basically here in the Middle East, we're changing the micron filtration at least once a month. You still need to change out the micron cartridge, and this is what it looks like. Now, inside is where the pump resides. Now, also, there's back here, you'll see that you have the wastewater, you have the power, you have the good water, and you have the inlet. So the water coming in from the tap. And then now, as you can see back here, these are the holes where you put and you mount this on the wall. So this is a wall mount unit. You put the screws here with the template, you put it up against the wall, you put in the screws, you level it out, and you mount the unit on the wall. Underneath it, you'll see where it said waste. You have it here. Here's your power button. Here is the good water, and here is the water that's coming in from the tap. And here is where the cartridges all go. So as you can see here, that they're labeled PP for the micron filtration, C1 for the carbon, C2 for the second carbon, and the membrane. And basically, this is your whole housing right here. Now, let's review the cartridges. Basically, here is the PP, which is the micron cartridge. Now, what I love about these units is that you put them in, you turn them quarter way, and they snap right into place. However, when you're changing the micron cartridge that's inside of here, you have to remove the bottom cap. And there's a key for that. So you remove the bottom cap. And basically, here is your micron filtration. As you can see, it has O-rings on the top, and it's beautiful white. And again, let me show you what it looks like dirty. So beautiful white, 1 micron. So the material is polypropylene, so that way it doesn't contaminate your water and it's food grade. So to put it back, it's nice and easy. Put it in the unit. You look at it from the top, you put the cap back on it, and then you put the cap in the bottom. Nice and easy, lemon squeezy. Then you twist the key, nice and locked in place. And like I said, really easy to mount. You place it underneath, you remove the cap first, you place it underneath, and you twist. And it snaps right into place. So that is for the micron filtration. The same thing will hold true for the carbon. So here's carbon 1. Here's carbon 2. And then we have the big boy here, the membrane, the RO membrane. And these are the 4 that we would install on this unit. By the way, on the unit itself, we see that there's a C2. And like I mentioned earlier, the C2 functions after the water goes through the membrane. You can change that out, the C2, for a deionization cartridge. Other things that came along with the RO system, aside from the containers, and bear in mind that those containers, they all get changed the same and they all get put the same. So we didn't have to go through the carbon 1, carbon 2 in the membrane. However, they did come with fasteners and also the connectors for the tap water line. It also came with the driver so it can work the pump. And also it came with tubing. Now, what I like a lot also is hose cutter. So it came with this as well. And the key to unlock, or the key to open the canisters. Also with the system is the manual. So this manual is written in German, in English, and in French. So if you know any of those languages, you can read it, and it goes over some of the things that I just went over, but in more detail. And now we're also going to discuss here at ThinkFish a deionization system that they connect with all their Arka systems. And it's really an interesting system. It's an A and B system, and they're going to go over it with you. So we're going to go over the deionization and how ThinkFish does it here in their facility, along with the Arka RO system. However, this is the man right here. He runs the whole place. He's really a good guy, and he's going to explain to us how this deionization system that they utilize here, how it works. Take it away.
Yeah. So
As
here,
a matter of fact, take it.
hey Tony. So here at ThinkFish, we mainly use Arka as a filtration. So Arka will ensure you to have an absolutely close to 8-7 RO only. So, and here when the deionization have a role to make it 0. So here we have A and B. So let's talk about A first. So A will remove all the harmful substance, the toxic, and all the things that, of course, the RO missed will make it 0. However, on the B, here's the magic. Wherever A miss, B will take. So it will be a tiny things. Sometimes you cannot even measure it on the TDS meter. So B will take it, will make it absolutely 0. You cannot miss that. So here is the second thing that we can use the B. However, they cannot be mixed actually. They have to go into a housing. So house A, go in, and then out, house B, go out. So those housings, they have to be packed. So when we fill them with their DI resin, It has to be packed. There shouldn't be any room, because once it starts tumbling, it's gonna go either with the water outside or it's gonna be grind itself. So this is we open here. There will be sponge. We remove it, and we start putting the RO. We have to dig it or we have to shake it. So we need to reach a time that literally when we put the sponge, we have to squeeze the sponge so hard in order for us to put the sponge. So don't forget the gasket, because otherwise it will leak. So we put the gasket first. So the sponge has to almost sit like this. And we put the canister at the top here. We close it. We have to make sure it's quite tight. No shaking. It has to be super packed. The same thing would be. So in this case, we ensure it's pristine, super zero TDS water.
That's awesome, man. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And it's good to see that Think Fish is actually stepping up to the plate and making sure that their customers are getting the best water possible for their aquarium. Because let's face it, any reef tank or any fish tank, we want them to have the best water.
Absolutely.
Because when we look over here, we can see the fish clearly. We can see how nice and clean the water is. And it has to start that way before even the salt gets in there. And Think Fish knows all of that. Now, let's go to the installation of the Arka. So we had an overview of the product itself, the housing, and the cartridges. Now we're going to do a quick installation, and then we're going to put it under the sink, and I'll show you guys how we do that as well. But first, let's put all the cartridges in place, and also bear in mind, there are caps on the connectors where the hoses insert. So we're going to remove the caps and insert the hoses. But first, let's start with the cartridges. So as we can see, the first one we're going to do is PP, which is the micron filtration. So here's a micron filtration, nice and tight at the bottom. There's a cap at the top. So we'll remove the cap and we'll just insert it. And basically you put it in, you put it inside and you snap it, and it snaps in place. And as you can see like this, when you're looking at it face forward, you can see which cartridge the first one is, which is the micron cartridge PP. The second one will be C1. Now C1 is where all the carbon is. So we're going to remove the cap from the carbon container, and we're going to put that in place. And also we're going to twist it. Going to twist it, push it down, twist, and it snaps in place. Real nice and easy. Then we're going to do C2, which is the carbon. Now, bear in mind, I have mentioned earlier, the processing of this RO filtration is basically through the micron filtration, through the first chamber of carbon, through the membrane, which will be installed here, and then through the carbon. So that's an extra polishing of the water once it goes through the membrane, and it'll go through the carbon. Now, if you're looking to polish the water even more so, you can swap out the C2 for a DI cartridge. And then that way you get deionization as well with this. But in this setup here that we're doing, since we're going to be using the Modern Reef deionization kit, basically it runs through a deionization A and B or 1 and 2. And so once it goes through the second chamber of carbon, then it will go into the DI designed by Modern Reef. But let's finish this one. So basically the cap is off, we press it down, and we twist. And that one's installed. And now the big heavy one, which is the membrane. Now, guys, basically, I always look to replace the membrane at least once a year. Now, let's say, for example, you wind up getting hot water running through this, because I've seen it happen to many hobbyists who wind up calling me, telling me, oh my God, I ran hot water through my membrane. What do I do? get a new membrane, because now you destroyed the membrane inside with the hot water. So it expanded the tissue, and now whatever was on the face of the tissue worked its way to the middle of the core, and it's not very effective anymore. So always replace it if you run hot water through it, or when it's at least 1 year old. Once it's 1 year old, then you're good to go. So this one, the same thing. We press down and we twist. There we go. This one was a little harder to put in place. However, now you guys get to see what the face looks like. So basically you have the micron, the carbon 1, carbon 2, and membrane. But remember, the sequence is micron, carbon 1, membrane, carbon 2. Okay, now let's take a look at the back side. And on the back side, you'll see we have wastewater, we have power, we have pure, which is the good water, and we have inlet, which is the water coming in from the tap. So we're going to go and connect these in place. I want to show you guys what we have down here. And as you can see, there are caps like I mentioned earlier. The caps are really easy to remove. So all you have to do is press down on the ring and pull the cap out. If you try to remove it without pressing down on the ring that's here, it won't come up, as you see. So you press down and out comes the plugs. And this is to prevent anything from getting inside here during transportation or manufacturing or anything like that. This prevents any issues or any kind of detritus or any kind of dust particles or dirt from getting inside here. They're nice and clean. Now the caps are removed, and here's regular line hose that's going to go inside and basically until it stops, and now it can't come up. If you ever want to remove it, press down and it'll release the hose. Same thing with this one. As you can see, it won't come up. Press down and it releases the hose. As you can see, where the RO is going to be located, there's actually an RO system there, one of the typical RO systems that you find in the market. I'd be honest with you, nothing comes close to this Arka. Works really well. And like I mentioned earlier, it's 1-to-1. So every good water is one bad water, where most RO systems are producing 3 bad water and 1 good water. So 3-to-1, which is not good. I'm going to do the removal of the ORO system. So I'll make sure that the feed line is shut off. I'll make sure that the drain line is disconnected properly. And also the electrical line, we're going to do a nice installation based on the layout of the RO, again, with the deionization system. So here is the water line. Easy to disconnect. Push in the ring, and this one should come out. And there we go, nice, and it's shut off. And then this is the drainage. So we'll take that one, disconnect it. And sure enough, judging from this, I can see that the water here is really bad. I think we'll put a whole new line in place for it. And then disconnect the power line. And the RO system is out of here. What I'd like you to see here is how I connected this. Now, always remember that the inlet will have the larger hose. So that is the water coming in from the tap. The waste will always be all the way to the right. So when you're looking at it face forward, it's all the way to the left. But from behind is all the way to the right. So if you're messing around with it while it's installed, always know that the last hose all the way to the end and not the larger one, but the smaller one is going to be your waistline. So what I did here was, because our waistline was already a white hose, we're going to use the white hose for the waist and the black hose for the pure water. So this is the water that gets filtered, will all go through the black. I could have cut it in half and put the waste as black as well, but it can be confusing. So what I did was make the waste white and the pure and the good water black. And then we're going to connect the power here, and we're good to go to install it under the sink. Actually, it looks very good like this. But for convenience, I think I will put it this way because it'll make it easier to remove the cartridges as opposed to coming all the way back here and taking up all this space. What I'll probably do is put the deionization back here. So then that way the two cartridges for DIs are in the back, and this is like here in the corner. And I think later on what we'll do is we'll use the template in the back, put two screws in and mount it up here. And I think it'll even be nicer that way. But for right now, I want to install it and get it up and running. I like that in the kit, they also have a pipe cutter. So this is amazing. Bam, nice and easy. So this is the extra hose. And then what we're going to do is just connect it from here into here. And now it's connected to the inlet. So the inlet is done. This is the pure water. So we know that the black one is the pure water. And then we're going to have to connect to the drain. So I'm going to find some hose to connect the drain to the system. So as we can see here, this is the inlet to the RO system. Now there's a lot of hose here and we don't need so much hose. So we'll cut that as well. I connected the tap water inlet. I connected the water coming out of the RO, the pure water, going into the DI, chamber A to chamber B. And we have TDS readings here, which we can turn this on and see A, the water going in, and B, the water coming out. And now to connect the wastewater. The wastewater, I said I was going to make that in the white hose, and here it is. So like I mentioned before, the wastewater is all the way at the end. And there we go. Wastewater is connected. Good water is connected. Wastewater is connected. And now I just want to connect the hoses. I mean, the power. Okay, so that should be the installation. Now let's take a good close-up look at it. This completes the installation to the Arka myAQUA 3800. By the way, 3800 equates to 1,000 US gallons. The monitoring system for the TDS is being replaced for a more efficient model. This concludes this episode. Please like, subscribe, share, and hit that notification bell. So until next time.
You have to love reefing.